Guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I wanted to give you my first impressions on the Olympus Epic Quest update, because there's some really good stuff, there's some not so good stuff, and it's going to create some mixed emotions and mixed impressions for players. So starting off with what's really good about this update, I would say despite all of the blocks and despite all of the research missions, it's actually a really good Epic Quest. You can finish it in one day, and it doesn't feature as much sort of paywalled farming as the other Epic Quests, mainly because Athena is given very late in the Epic Quest, but is not required until very late. And so you're actually given 30 biometrics of Athena before you even need to unlock her, meaning that you can just use rank up tickets. So it's very free-to-play friendly, very approachable. You know, the other characters, Aphrodite, MODOK, and Amadeus Cho that you build are very easy to obtain, very free to play. Ares is genuinely, Ares and Pluto, Hades, are the only difficult characters to obtain, which is actually funny, but you've had years to obtain Ares, so it should be a lot easier now. And I do have to say the Epic Quest, where it does falter in terms of some of the research missions and how often it spams certain things like dimension missions and you know, timeline battle and team battle arena. It does have a lot of characters, does feature a nice cast, there's pretty good writing, and the graphics, I have to say, like the scenic is amazing. These are just a few of the zones from the Epic Quest, and they just look absolutely gorgeous when you can pull away the stuff and just focus on the artwork. So kudos there. We also have a pseudo data mine. I don't know if it's exactly a data mine or if it's just from the Epic Quest, but we do have this image, this icon of Amadeus Cho. If you haven't played the Epic Quest, it is a bit of a spoiler, I apologize, but early on in the Epic Quest, you will meet Amadeus Cho in this form, wearing sort of like a green and black suit when he's in his human form. So we may be getting a mid-month or something down the road with a tier 4 Amadeus Cho. So Epic Quest is actually pretty solid. As far as the other big changes, I do welcome the update from 10 to 5 of Timeline Battle and Team Battle Arena. It is much less stressful and less grindy, especially if you are not refreshing. It's great. And then the biggest change of all is the new, obviously the requirements for ABX ABL are new, and that'll require separate videos to unpack, but that's amazing. But I did get to try the new relay battle. Just a quick tip for you guys. It's a small thing, but if you actually want to try it, if you want to test it out, because it's not technically available until the weekend, you have to tab over to relay, and then you have to actually click on it, and then it will change the screen. And then from here, you can jump into the training mode, and you can cycle between all of the requirements, and you can try out some different team compositions. It is still a very arcadey game mode. I will say that. It does still give me ABX ABL vibes in a certain sense, but it is not quite as spazzy as ABX, and it doesn't have the energy dropping of ABL. So it's a different kind of arcade, or sort of like a time trial game mode. It's pretty interesting. I haven't given it too many tries, but it's nice to see the bosses cycling through. It's really cool to see, you know, big burst damage, and I think it's a game mode that rewards, you know, build up and burst, rather than just continuous damage. So I think that may be where it differentiates itself quite a bit from ABX and ABL, where you're just constantly trying to hit the mobs all the time. And it could be the case that other CTPs are actually pretty good, because I was able to, maybe not, it's not a great score, but with a combat team with Wolverine featuring a brilliant energy, I was able to score 20 million on my first try. And that was a confused try where I wasted a bunch of time on one of the Ultron bosses because I didn't know what to do, and he stayed alive like way longer than he was supposed to. But I think this is going to be, you know, a treasure trove of content for players for the time being, for the months to come. Between this and the changes to ABX ABL, I think this is amazing. So I think this is a big W for the update, and I think it's going to really improve the longevity of Marvel Future Fight. However, on the character side of things, I think I find myself again reporting to the devs, as we've long reported this year, that the characters are undercooked. And I actually still have the rank 1 Hercules as of recording this video, so it's good to have this so I can showcase it, because he's just not that good. And I tested him out with a Colossus Wasp team, as you're seeing here. He's got 100,000 physical attack. His defenses are very, very low. You can see 39 and 36,000 are just not good enough these days. And with no immortality, no revive, it's really questionable. He does have 250,000 HP, but that is because I'm using his lead plus Wasp giving 20%. So that's 50 or 60% increased HP. But even still, he's unable to even compete with Wolverine. And this uniform is over a year old for a native tier 2 Epic Quest character. Now, I know Wolverine is a more popular character than Hercules, but it's kind of unacceptable that a character released more than a year later in the same conditions with an Epic Quest attached to it isn't at least as good. And when we say at least as good, I'm only talking about PvP. I'm not even considering PvE, because Hercules for PvP, for PvE is a joke. He has 0 cancelable skills, whereas Wolverine has 2 cancelable skills. He has 0 cancelable skills, and he has like 20 hits or 30 hits on his best combo. So this is quite disappointing to see that an Epic Quest character, native tier 2 at tier 4 with a max build, is unable to compete. He's doing you to 3, 4, 5, and he's unable to compete here. This is a joke. You can see here this is 52 hits. Okay, and if we go ahead and we change this over to Wolverine, you will see that instead of 52 hits, we have, let's take a look here. Let's just compare a character from a year ago, shall we? Oh, 140 hits. Okay. So a character that's over a year old gets a kit that features 3 times as many hits as a character that was just released. I think this level of discrepancy is just unacceptable, right? Why would you build Hercules? Under what circumstances? For Shadowland? It's just kind of pathetic, right? You're talking about a character that is more than a year old, and he not only has more hits, he has 3 times as many hits on his base combo. On top of that, he has immortality. So he has access to more defensive layers, and he is stronger offensively with more hits. Plus, he gets the uniform stats, which, as we know, is 25% attack and 25% defense, plus all the other flat stats. Of course, Hercules can't compete with this, because the devs are not taking the character seriously, and they're not putting him, he should be at least as good as Wolverine in both PvE and PvP. Otherwise, just build Wolverine, right? It just makes no sense. So, yeah, I've heard similar things about Hades, that he's not even as good as Loki, but it's still a bit up in the air. Athena is probably not even good as Nebula, who's not as good as Hope, who's not as good as Crescent. So we're talking about 2 characters back. And remember, Nebula was released in, 2022, 2023? So we're talking about characters that are 2 or 3 years old. And again, it's not to say that every character in the Epic Quest needs to be the best character. But when none of the characters from the Epic Quest are even meta, are even #1 in their category, what was the point of the Epic Quest? So that the players who play casually have a week's worth of dialogue to go through, and meanwhile all of the serious players, all of the hardcore players get disappointed and baited and rage baited? I really don't understand. So yeah, it is a bit of a mixed update. I have to say, I think the characters should be stronger. I think they need to take a second pass on Hercules. I think they need to give him immortality. I think minimum they need to give him immortality. I think they either need to give him immortality, or they need to give him that Dakin X23 artifact buff. He needs some serious damage reduction. He needs some serious tankiness, because it's just not enough. And yeah, he just dies, and then it's over, And for those of you wondering, yeah, Dakin and X23 have this, when they drop below 50%, they ignore basic damage for 5 seconds. Even this is not, immortality would be better, for sure. But yeah, I think it's unacceptable that none of the gods have immortality or revive. They're literally gods, and they literally joke about it in the Epic Quest that they are immune to death and time, and they can just live forever. Well, they can't live forever, because you queue up and he gets one-shotted by Sentry before he even does any damage. Not to mention his tier 3 does no damage. His tier 3 does hilariously low damage. And his other skills also deal low damage. It's pretty bad. So yeah, I have to say, for the investment that I made, rushing through the epic quest, getting rank 1, giving him a brilliant CTP, the result is not very good. So I do hope that the devs tweak him at least. At least Hercules should be stronger because he is the main character of the epic quest. But yeah, that being said, Mr. Fantastic also kind of sucks. So I don't know. Anyways, that's my impressions of the update. I think there's some obvious great spots, but I think there's some obvious not so great spots. And I think that whoever is doing the balancing of characters, again, still is not doing a good job. And I don't know how many times I can say this message and the players can give this message, and the MFF director just like la 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 la, whoever it is, like, I can't hear you, la 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 la, I'm closing my ears. And it's just like, man, we're not asking for the characters to be broken OP. I'm not asking for Hercules to one-shot Null and one-shot Sentry and everything, but like, can these characters compete? Can they have a chance? I'm rank 1 and I don't even have a chance. There's no chance. I'll show you right now. There is no chance. I'm not even going to take on a double. I'm going to completely ignore the double support Null teams. Okay, and I know Timeline Battle is just one game mode. I'm fully aware that it's not the only PvP game mode. And listen, I could be wrong. Hercules could eventually have some value in something like Team Battle Arena. But with this level of performance right now, I don't know what to say. All right, we were able to find a team in the top 60 for Timeline Battle without Agent Venom. So let's just see if Hercules can fight against Silver Surfer, who is, again, more than a year old at this point. Okay. Okay, not bad, not bad. See you on the wake up. Okay, not bad, gets the kill. And he's dead. Okay. Doesn't even trigger Null's artifact. Yeah. Okay. Doesn't have enough damage to trigger Null's artifact when Agent Venom is not around. Yeah. Okay. So he's not strong enough defensively, and he's not strong enough offensively. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Right? Because Wolverine is not strong enough defensively either, but he is strong enough offensively to trigger Null's artifact. And he has immortality. He has both. He has the offense and he has the immortality. Hercules has neither. Herc doesn't have the offense and doesn't have the defense. He has to have one of them. Like, okay, if he doesn't have the offense, at least make him super tanky. In the time I was talking, I lost rank 1. So funny. But like, he has to have something. I don't want to make this video just about Hercules ranting. It's just crazy to me that the devs clearly don't test these characters well enough, or I don't know if they test them at all. But the balancing for the game has just been awful this year, and I was really hoping that the extra week, right? We need an extra week, guys. We're working so hard. I was really hoping the extra week would really polish the balancing, and that these characters would come out and they would feel strong. They would feel like they're moving the needle. And it's like, okay, you want to invest in this epic quest because these characters are strong. Well, unfortunately, I can't give you that. I can't tell you to invest in the epic quest. I actually have to tell you to wait. Maybe skip the epic quest. Why? Because previous characters from previous epic quests are just straight up better, offensively and defensively, with artifacts that you can farm for free. I don't know what the devs are doing. I really don't know. They're out to lunch. They're permanently out to lunch when it comes to character balancing. And it's honestly embarrassing. It's embarrassing that they keep making this mistake all year long. And it's been the same feedback since January. And again, we're in November and they're like, la, 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 we can't hear you. So maybe if there's no sales and nobody wants to buy the epic quest, maybe they'll hear us. I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyways, hit me up in the comments down, but it is just day one. I'm kind of overreacting, but I'm kind of tired of not overreacting when it comes to this kind of stuff. So maybe I have to overreact at the beginning. I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. I think I'm going to have a blast with this update. Don't get me wrong. It just might not be with any of the Olympians, which is just pathetic. But hey, talk to the managers. Talk to the MFF managers. Talk to Joe and those guys. Anyways, yeah. Hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching the video. Smash like button if you're enjoying the content, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.